So when when I was figuring out what to do for this talk, the first thing that came to my mind after meeting Mike and everything is like, what if we create kind of like a very small packaged version of the first 8 things that we need to do when talking about remote work? And that led me to be like, you don't need to break anything, you need to build. Okay, so I changed the title based on that. So this is, I'm sorry. This is not me, but it took you a while, right? Yeah. Um, like Mike said, I'm Gaston. I do assemble a lot like Seth Rogen. I'm not making money out of it, so it's not going to happen that much. But I founded my company very recently. I worked like for 20 years, basically integrating teams, like being a catalyst for the chemistry of teamwork to happen. And I worked like in a lot of industries, which gave me a lot of flexibility when it came to understanding what things happen in the workplace. So, remote work. What happens now? Everything that I'm going to talk to you about today, it's completely biased by my own experience. Like everything will distill things that happened to me or that I'm part of or that I've heard. So one of the things that I really like is if you have to think about like a single thing about remote work that it's difficult, what would that be? Like think about it, like picture it in your heads. You can tell me if you want, or you can tell the rest. Connection, communication, work-life balance, perfect. Think about it, like, see it? Breaks the status quo, right? Perfect. Career progression, we could say, right? Okay, think about it, like, save that thought, put a pin in it, we'll talk about it later. So, what's after the pandemic and everything that happened, what's the next normal? And some of the recent research that I've done, it's really giving me a lot of, hope about the future. This is an article called Remote Work is Everything to Happen the Following Decades. Actually, in Utah, I was exposed to a research analysis that says that there is an opportunity in childcare because people are spending either too much in childcare or employers aren't spending enough giving the benefit of childcare, and that's affecting the employees directly, their employee experience. There is a huge opportunity there to redirect those funds into the right thing in order to improve productivity. Salesforce CEO, and he's a friend of mine, like he's a personal friend of mine. And why are you laughing? And we're going to talk to him later. He volunteered in the spot here. Airbnb says that turnover has dropped, diversity has increased. These are all recent, like very recent. And Atlassian, I only did this because of Mark, right? With the different tip, right? But they their stock has gained like 20% increase in a very short period of time. Or am I lying? Or yeah. So I have an announcement to make. I'm interviewing Mark Benioff from Dreamforce. So Mark, how are you? You've been very bold on remote work in the past. You have a pretty, a good stance when the pandemic just started, and you said, we got this. We can change how work is done. Now we are working remotely. And then about a year ago, you changed your mind, and now all of the CEOs, especially Amazon CEOs, just said that, look, guys, you need to come back to the office, or else, you may be facing pink slips. I don't know exactly what pink slips is because in Argentina, you don't know that much. So, what's your take? Absolutely. I hope it works.
I'm a remote worker. I've always been a remote worker my whole life. I don't work well in an office. It just doesn't work for my personality. I can't tell you why. I do love going to visit customers, though. So I'm on the road constantly, visiting customers, going and having dinner with people. You've seen me probably at dozens and dozens of customers. And for my people, that's my message, which is they need to mix in-person and remote together. And in-person means being together, which is great to be together, and also get productivity at home. Our engineers are extremely productive at home. We have lots of people who are extremely productive at home, but there also has to be salespeople who are productive in the office selling to customers, and we need to make it all work.
Thank you, Mark. So when it comes down to it, it's not about the answers, because believe me, everything I'm about to say, you already know. I'm guessing there is very few things that you haven't been exposed to, but it's formulating the right questions that would lead us to the right answers, or to the answers that we're seeking, but maybe they're right there in front of us and we cannot figure it out. That's the thing. So I ask why we're here, really. So we're here to promote best practices for our employees, our people, in a distributed, remote way, to have an amazing experience delivering whatever they are delivering, services, products, whatever. Like, we're here to help them. We need to give them a service. So these are a few concepts that I like to prime you guys with, and I like the fact that someone talked about priming, which is the difference about achieving balance and having alignment. You can be in balance, you can achieve balance, but one slight change will, everything will fall apart. And this is a nice analogy, like you remove work policies there, something happens, or all hell loose. So something that it's interesting is that when you reach balance and alignment, that's where the magic happens. And it's simple, but it's not obvious, right? And that leads to resiliency, which means that you'll be able to withstand the weather much longer than if you try things. I like what Liam said about process and tools. It is related to that as well. So I want to give you the answer to all your needs, which is the conjoint triangles of success. I don't like it's a joke, right? But thank you. That's it. It's been great being here with you. Say what now? I want to give you 7 tenets, and I'm sorry, when I started doing this, I didn't think about it that much. So it reached 7. It should have been less, but bear with me. Full disclaimer. And we're going to talk about flexibility, being ready, following through, owning the stage, about communication, feeling the heat, and building trust. You see the Jenga tower? And because I'm very smart, I created an acronym for you guys to remember all of this. But it is what it is, right? So let's talk about communication. And I really would like you guys to come up with some ideas. I can tell you from my own experiences that when we were having cross-office communication or cross-location communication, even when we had the office, we had tensions arising, we had a lot of mistrust, and we had a ton of lack of information because people didn't know what happened. So can anyone else think about something that happened in terms of communication or miscommunication? What else? Nothing? Nice. Tough crowd. It's fine. What's that? Mounts, like over communication. Modes, the channels, right? The medium. Right. 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 Like, but you didn't get the memo? Like, perfect. So again, these are my learnings. Define goals and expectations. It's very important, and this goes to all the levels, right? But it's much more important at the manager or leadership level. Someone told today that what makes or breaks things are the management style. I've been watching Succession, which is a great, great exposure to American culture as well. which, and something that I really like is that you can't make a omelette because of Tom, there is one of the characters, without breaking some Gregs. That's what he did. Poor management style, right? And you can see it, like you can feel it in your body when that's the thing. And we need to fight that. Deliver your message clearly. That's defining the medium. There are people who specialize in communication, and communication is like a way. It starts, it's targeting definition, it reaches its peak, and then it subsides and move on to the next thing. You need to find the flow and the confidence in order to do that. We had to actually hire someone to help us in my past company because it was getting out of hand, to be honest. And so you need sometimes someone to coach you on how to do things. Try to keep everyone involved. Right now, there are tools such as Loom. Liam also talked about it, that you can record yourself a message, you can record a meeting. Actually, there are AI tools that can summarize that. And it's really very difficult for you to miss like important communication in the company, but still. And then be open to receive feedback. This is very important. Very, very, very important. It's such an important thing that I'm asking you guys to give you feedback right now. Okay. And I'm joking. But one of the things that this is real. But one of the things that I was doing is, in all our presentations, we put when there a QR code throughout the presentation so that we could know if someone was having like a hard time hearing or a hard time, I know, like, why am I here? I don't feel like part of the audience. We learn either make the change in that one or the next one. And the other thing is that what I like the best is to give opportunities for the people who typically were on the spotlight to be the speakers for that particular thing. So instead of a CEO bringing, sometimes the CEO speaks, but people in charge of the departments giving a statement, they would give it to their collaborators, and that was magic. That was amazing. It worked a long way, especially in the motivation and collaboration. And this is something that happened to me. We were working with a architect, like agricultural, very specialized in technology. The name is From Freer. Then they made from here. They made tractors and stats and stuff. And what I like about them is that they make a habit about good communication. And the habit that they made is that quality for them came first. Anything else didn't matter if quality wasn't present. And there wasn't a day that went by that we were talking to them, that we were always measured against their quality standards, to the point that there was a time that I had to make a poor decision, back then, and it came back right very next day, and it basically bite me in the behind because of some like a poor judgment call that I've made, and it's because of that. And it's a good example of people communicating, and that's the QI call that I was mentioning that years ago. And I learned a lot by that experience as well. So things that I will encourage you to do is, daily huddles. They can also be done asynchronously by either recording a message, video message or audio message, and posting it with a channel. Encouraging turning cameras on. That's sometimes people are weird about it. I don't know. I mean, I understand why. That if we can't come up with an agreement where cameras are being turned on, even better. Because rapport with other human beings, when seeing them, it's one thing. Texting is one thing, talking about it. But when I can see someone's face saying, "Yeah, I agree with it," it's different. Right? So Slack teams, Hangouts, discipline. We had a team of probably 7 people defining how we should be using Slack, and there were Slack police that would help us steer Slack usage toward the right direction. It's an investment, I know, but it goes a long way. And then everybody was, making fun of it, creating emojis, personalizing more, like things that there was a channel like, why am I crying? Like amazing things that happen. Open calendar schedule. This means that everybody can see my calendar, and I can see everybody's calendar as well. So I know what they're doing. Yes.
I just have a question about the platform. So who did you hire?
No, we basically.
Did you hire someone from outside, or did you just look at it?
No, within our team, we had people that were, so there were people from IT support, basically the IT shop, the like support, people from the dev side, people from the design, like the design side. So we were a consulting firm that we had a lot of people, and people from legal. No, nobody from legal participated. But what we did is that we spent, okay, when someone was off topic, there was an emoji of a circle, like going to this other topic, like little things, little cues that without being menacing or a pain in the ass, like help people do the right thing. Like don't send there is a thing in Slack where everybody gets a notification. Don't be that guy. Like don't be that guy that passes out on the train and then everybody else gets late at work. Don't be that guy, right? All right. That's my open calendar schedule, and also is making sure that everybody can schedule a meeting in your calendar. Like you're open. It's like that's where. And if you need to block time in your calendar. Use your calendar as your availability test. Something else that you can think of that you've used in the past or that you're using it right now. You are managing remote teams, right? You must be doing something that works. Go ahead. Go ahead. Nice. 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 Brendan. Nice. Nice. Right. Right. And look, you're singing in bed, you have fun, right? So why not? So when talking about trust, and there were others also that talked about it, it's very hard. It's not impossible, but it's very hard to really without any kind of human interaction. And I took it from Simon Funny, but everyone else in the room as well. So things that help is basically basic human being behaviors. Like the most basic, like the thing that you get when you're born, nothing else. Which is, if you say you're going to do something, do it. And if you do it repeatedly, people will think, this guy is pretty sturdy, like commits. Try to be organized. So I use my calendar a lot, and I will talk about it later. In order to plan what I'm about to do in the future, and try to manage other people's calendars through mine as well. I talk about that. In agreements, it's basically action items at the end of the meeting, in interaction, who's going to do it, what is needed, and by when. This solves a lot of controversy, and it's hard, I know, but it's only a few minutes, and it gets a lot of time. And then, be predictable and dependable. There was one time a senior manager called me, say, where is Luis? Who? Luis. Luis, our Luis? Yes. I don't know, like, where is he? And he disappeared like for 4 days. And I don't know like what happened to him, but he disappeared. He didn't let anybody know, and he was at work, right? So there are little cues, subtle cues, and little things that can happen, which is like the birthday cards, sending someone lunch if they're sick, giving people space if they've been wanting someone. This is kind of like an extreme example, but it wasn't at a company that I work with, but a company that I know. Someone in the family had a terminal illness, and basically what they say is, look, to understand the situation, go to an Airbnb for the remaining of the time that you have together, and spend as much time as you can, quality time as you can. Don't worry about work. We'll take care of things. That again goes a long way But people did, when I talk about this, sometimes people didn't even know that they could do that. And yes, you can do whatever you want. Things that we do. Once a week, we have a meeting where we don't talk stuff at all. We talk about hearts and minds. We talk about like what HBO's latest documentary. We talk about old school shows from Argentina. What else? Gaming. We end a lot, so we do that as well. When you do virtual gatherings, please make them cater or reimbursed. People like that, and it's nothing. Sending on using the safety connection and motivation. These are little things that you can do that make long. Like I said, have someone. If you cannot do it, this goes to there are things called personal relationship management tools. It's like a CRM, but for you. I don't use it, but I have friends of mine who are using it, that I'm considering it. But this is sending someone a plan because they like plans. This is sending someone a box of chocolates when they have moved. Like connecting the dots from HR things, typically HR things like send a car or whatever, with your daily chores. Like if you're a manager of a development team, send someone a gift card out of nothing, just because they've been doing right things. And those things are the little subtle things that happen. And then at least once a year, do a remote summit and gather everybody around and, spend quality time together. I was very lucky in my career, and I've been lucky enough to go to Mexico 2 times. The whole company went to Mexico, which was wild for the weekend. And they was in crazy things. Like, I don't know, I think it's hard of it. And then a few weeks ago, this is I think I had the feel and I couldn't be with them. This is part of my team. But for example, this guy lives in Spain. This guy lives in Mendoza, which is like one country. Now almost everybody lives nearby the city or anything, but and then we have more team members. So it really helps to be together. Any other examples of things that you can do to increase trust or to build trust? Right. There is something that we used to have, we used to do as well, which it was called Ferris Bueller Day Off. And it's basically, you could take a day off, a paid day off. And as long as you were sharing that day with someone, doing something out of the ordinary, you have to share with the rest. And people went, skydiving, playing at a venue that you can go and play, or karaoke, do weirdly ball, like things, like fun things that you can do, and then share with the team. Now, sometimes I call this on the stage. Sometimes it's all about you. Imagine this: there was a time in your lives that you were on your own, and you couldn't, call your mom or dad to fix the lightning because they weren't around. And in remote work, sometimes that's exactly what happens. So it means that you need to get involved, you need to commit and take ownership. Basically, nobody's coming to the rescue. You have to basically man up and live up to it. You need to rebel against the roles. I'm going to talk about this in a minute. And then establish team agreements. Establish team agreements is: are we going to start a meeting on time, or are we waiting for people to show up? Are we going to talk about, we have a meeting formal? Are we going to follow it, or something happened and we're going to, my lunchtime is between this time and this time. Don't schedule something on my lunchtime, especially if you have different time. So those are the things. And regarding blurry roles, more than often, I hear people saying, but so-and-so told me to do something, and then so-and-so Ed told me to do something different. But who's the owner? Who's the owner of the domain? You. Then, so be it. Like, you need to tell both of them to wait until you figure things out. And sometimes people, they can do two things can happen. Either they're inexperienced or they're taking advantage of the situation, and you need to put a stop to it. And that's why I think this is by far the best litmus test for remote leadership proficiency, I would say. Because it's not the people. More often than not, it's not the people or the people that were supervising, is the leadership team. So I Googled the 5-second rule and this is the image that I got. Everybody knows what the 5-second rule is. So 5 seconds sometimes can mean 5 days. Something that I do with my teams is, if you need something and it's really urgent that requires coaching from my side, let me know. I'll drop whatever I'm doing to help you, because I know those 5 minutes, at least 5 seconds only for each. Those 15 minutes that I'm spending with you will save me a week worth of work later down the road. So be always available and open for everybody. Everybody, always. Obviously, we're not at 3 a.m. unless something really, really good happens. But pick up the phone. Sometimes something bad was happening, and I need to I couldn't wait. So now, if you call someone, you're pretty much a psycho. But I picked up the phone and called that person, and we talked because it was urgent. It was funny. Yesterday I was in the car with Mike, and Mike didn't have the phone number of someone from his team, because we needed to pick him up in order for us to go to the venue. But what I'm saying is, it's important for you to have the information of people whenever something happens, if ever something happens, and also obviously take the initiative. Something that happened, there is an employee of mine said, Gaston, I'm going to resign. I can't stand working with this person anymore. I'm about to, kick the door, and that's it. And I said, wait, calm down. Let's do this. It's okay if I call this person and we have a conversation. I toned it down like 12 notches. And he said yes, and we had a conversation. I'm equipped with the tools in order to have that conversation, which is something that happened. But sometimes when you see something going red, you need to, calm down and take initiative in order to help people. Because sometimes people understand what needs to be done, but anything am I forgetting? Did anything that I just said resonated with you? Right. Yeah. Right. And it's go ahead. Nice. Nice. You're a recovering accountant. Right. 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 It was a mind shift, right? And believe me, you can do that remotely as well. You can ask people for advice. I've asked many people for advice, and I would say 99% of the time they said yes. People that I didn't even know, people that I have their interaction with, they like if you come from a good place, like if hey, see this year thing that I want to sell, no. But if you come from the right place, you will open up. How much time do I have? Yes, I think I'm going to see it. like 5 minutes. Okay. What's that? Okay. So I'm going to go a little faster. This is me. My kids are probably somewhere over there. I have two small daughters. Have you ever felt isolated, burned out, feeling that you are not progressing because you don't have someone kind of helping you progress your career progression? Because of, right? Being stuck. It's the worst thing ever. So there is a pill that I take from this now. Uh, this is the word that I was looking for. So when the pandemic hit, I felt obviously depressed and happy. I mean, Alan Grant came up with this term, which is languishing. Languishing is like the dumb brother of depression. And a friend of mine told me, Gaston, this is because you're in Buenos Aires. This is because of the lockdown. Argentina had the longest lockdown in the world. Come to Miami. It's like the pandemic never happened. So I take it hard. I went to Miami, and it really helped me, my mental health. And I started to flourish. Flourish is the opposite of languishing. There is another author talking about post-pandemic. People are, they're feeling things that are really different. Like newer things, like more, their senses are enhanced. And work-life balance. Pay attention to that. Don't neglect yourself, and be, stern. I mean, be polite but stern when creating boundaries. If you're starting to feel burnout, take time off. That's why we have PTO. It's fine. For us, for more time. Continue fostering connections. I have my sales quota is making you at least 1 or 2 new connections every week. I don't think whether I'm selling or not, but it's nurturing me, and eventually it leads to business. Self-care matters. Like if you have, for example, I need to do more exercise. So I'm pushing myself to, make public objectives, like to my team and my family, about what I'm doing, because peer pressure works for me. But do not neglect yourself, especially not because of work. This is expect the unexpected, right? And you talk about that, and this is like a lecture, but then you talk about how, like a very concrete example, how I use my calendar. Mondays, for example, I use my calendar to connect with everything that is external to my organization. It's either clients or, networking, and usually on Monday I have my fuel tank completely full. Tuesdays, I use it to connect internally. So I take what I've done externally and I connect with the team. I connect with, accountants, with anything that needs to happen internally. Wednesdays is for my one-on-ones, and my time needs more fun. Wednesdays is when we are having our weekly meeting. So every week, Buenos Aires, people who are in town, we go to a working space. We work from there, and we basically have lunch together. And the same will happen as soon as we have more people everywhere. But that's the time when we talk about things and we meet in time. Thursdays are for anything that I couldn't fit on Wednesday, but again, it's easy, top priority. And Fridays, I block my entire day. I don't want to be with anybody. It's my me time. It's when I learn. It's when I do whatever I need to do, in between things. It's kind of like the place I like to go. And it took me a while getting there. Not everybody can do it, but fight for it. You'll get it. And you don't lose productivity if you have a day with no meetings or very particular meetings. And then, yes, I think this is one of the key things is following through. It's related to everything I just said. It's blending everything together, which is when you follow through, commitments are met, challenges are overcome, and opportunities are seized. And it's a habit. If you make a habit out of it, believe me, good things will happen. Why? Because of everything done in a certain way and leads you to good things. Like, it's probably philosophical, but it's what worked for me. I had a very healthy habit, and that continues to be with you. It's something that you put in your. I didn't know that it existed until I was watching on the flight here the latest Spider-Man movie, and there is something called Hammer Space. It's where cartoons, place their big things and use them, and then they all of a sudden they don't have it anymore because they store it in a Hammer Space. So everything I just talked about, you put it in your Hammer Space, your toolbox, and then you use it whenever you need it. All you do is basically making sure you get. Basically, all of the finish is what I just said. So, why be flexible? I mean, this is kind of like a little of a very downer, but all things must stop. We're here today because of remote work. Maybe there are aliens in Mexico that were mummified. I don't know what will happen, but all of a sudden we need to learn something new. I don't know, but this is what worked for me so far, and maybe in the future something else will come up. And I really like this quote, and I'm kind of winding down and getting over. I want you guys to read from George R.R. Martin, which I really like, which is, there are two types of writers: the architects and the gardeners. The architects know exactly their story end to end, and they are able to build upon that. And the gardeners plant the seed, take care of it, and see where that leads them. So, if I would like to ask you to do something, is with everything that you've learned today, you can either be a gardener or an architect, but be someone. Like, not let it then go untouched. So, when thinking about the single most difficult thing about remote work today, now that we've talked about other things, does the exact same thing come to mind, or it was some changes there? And you did, what are you going to do about it? Like, write it down. Who, myself, what, I'm going to talk to the team and fire Jim, and no. And I'm going to do it tomorrow. Like, write something that I do every once in a while. Actually, not every once a year. Is I write a letter to myself as if I'm in December, telling everything that I've done. Like, my daughters are growing strong. The business is booming. I've won the lottery now. I'm but that it's a good exercise. It's also a priming exercise that can help you visualize things that it's difficult. It forces you to do things. And I did one 50 years from now, so, or 40 years from now. I'm not doing that long, but it's fine. And that's it. So thank you so much. Thank you.